In this section, we're going to write out a reducer for our very last department, our policies department. So in this case, we're going to get a list of existing policies. We need to see if someone's trying to create or end a policy. If they are, then we want to either remove their name from the list of our policies or add it onto our list. So let's get to it. Back over here, I'm going to make a new reducer called policies. This is again going to be an arrow function. It's going to be called with a list of all of our existing policies. That'll be our first argument, which I'll refer to as list of policies. Just as before, I'm going to default the value of this thing in case our reducer is being called for the very first time. And so I'll default the value with an array like so. And then the second argument will be an action, or what we refer to as a form. Then inside of here, we're going to look to see if the action type is trying to create policy. If that's the purpose of the action, then we're going to do a very similar operation that we did previously up inside of our claims history reducer. So we want to take whoever's trying to sign up for a policy and add it to our existing list using this syntax you see right here. Because remember, we do not want to directly mutate or modify the array that we are passed as the first argument. All right, so inside of here, I'll say return a new array, ... list of policies. And then we're going to add in action.payload. And in this case, we only care about including this person's name. So I'm going to take the name property out of there. Okay, so that handles the case in which someone is trying to create a policy. Next, we'll say an else if the action type is equal to delete policy. Then we're going to return, and we want to take our list of policies. We want to find the person's name who's trying to end their policy and remove it from that array. To do so, we're going to use the filter helper, which is built into every single JavaScript array. To give you a very quick example on how the filter helper works, over here on the console, I'll do a quick example. I'll say const numbers equals 1, 2, 3 again. Oh, I already did that. So if I reference numbers, okay, there's the array. So now I can do numbers.filter. I'll pass in a callback function. This inner function is going to be called with each number inside of that array, which I'll abbreviate as an argument called num. So then inside of here, I can do a little Boolean check to decide whether or not each value should be included or discarded from the original array. So I could do something like return num not equal to 2, like so. And that's going to remove the value 2 from the numbers array. Now, to be precise, it doesn't actually remove the number 2 from the numbers array. The original numbers array still has the original set of values. So when we call filter, it produces a new array that has the filtered values inside of it. So essentially what we want to do right here is that same type of filter operation. And we want to somehow reject or get rid of the person who has a policy with a name equal to action.payload.name. So long story short, we're going to do list of policies.filter. That's going to have the name of everyone who signed up for a policy. And we're going to try to find and reject the name that is equal to action.payload.name, like so. Okay, and then finally at the very bottom, we're going to return our list of policies. All right, so that's it. That's the hard part. We just got through all the bad stuff. We've got 3 action creators for each of the 3 different types of forms that we have. And then we've got 3 different reducers, 1 for each of our different departments, our claims history, our accounting, and our policies. As you can probably tell, there's a couple of different fine-grained rules around how you put these different reducers together. Stuff like making sure that you do not modify the array that gets passed in, or this first argument right here, and making sure that we always return some value. But you'll get a better handle on some of those fine-grained rules over time. For right now, I just care about making sure that you understand the overall goal of a reducer. The overall goal of a reducer is to take some existing data, some action, and then modify and return that existing data based upon the contents of an action. All right, so now that we've put all this baseline stuff together, we're going to take one more quick pause, and then when we come back to the next section, we're going to use all this code that we've written to actually create a new instance of something called a Redux store, and then we're going to be able to test out our code. So quick pause, and I'll see you in just a minute.